Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Teresa. I am obsessed with all things makeup and beauty, and I want to help you guys make some informed decisions. And today I'm looking at the Metamorphic collection by Beauty Bay. It's quite a small collection. They didn't come out with a whole chunk of things, but it includes a limited edition eyeshadow palette, 2 liquid eyeshadows, and a mascara and a liner. But for today, we're mostly just looking at the Metamorphic eyeshadow palette, and it looks like this. It's very cool toned, very winter wonderland. And the other part of the collection that I'm also looking at are the liquid eyeshadows, and they come in 2 specific shades, but for today's video I'm primarily looking at the shade Surreal. So overall the video is a tutorial and a review to help you again make an informed decision. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, then do please keep on watching. So within this palette, there's actually only 5 mattes, but I am trying to try out as many of them as possible. 4 to be precise. So the first thing that I'm doing is taking this Coloured Rain brush, and I'm going into the very lilac shade called Reality. And I'm starting off just by popping that on the inside of the eye. You can see actually you get a huge amount of pigment very early on. I was quite surprised with this, but also not, because it's Beauty Bay and like kind of that's what they do. I mean, this is what, a €22 palette? I believe it's retailing for £18. Don't know how they do it. I mean, to be fair, they're a big business, so they can keep the costs down, but still, this is very winter wonderland. And I mean, we've all kind of been saying they need to do something a little bit different because, like, yes, the colour stories are interesting, but they needed to do something more like duochromy, multichromy, because, I mean, so many other brands are doing it. So it's really great to see that Beauty Bay were actively listening to their customers on this. So as I'm hoping you can see, you can pack on the colour, which is fantastic, but you can also kind of diffuse it out. So, you know, like it's not like a wham, a huge amount of pigment, don't know what to do with it. You can kind of like soften it out as well. So like if you're looking at this amount of pigment and kind of going, oh, that's a bit too much for me, don't worry my friends. See how like you can fade it out along here? Like you don't have to go for the big wabam of pigment either. Like, you know, you can obviously make this to suit yourself. Like it is very easy to blend this out. So as you can see, I am just kind of following the shape of the eye. This is not a complex look at all. I'm kind of bringing it down under here, a little bit under the lash line, and just kind of building up that amount of pigment and kind of diffusing it as well. As I'm hoping you can see, that shade Reality built up quite nicely, but it also diffused really easily as well. I only spent an extra maybe a minute and a half, but I didn't want to show you that because that's dull. But you can see, and purple is such a difficult shade to get right. So this is actually formulated really nicely. I'm now taking a P. Louise brush and I'm going into the shade System. And I'm just kind of popping that on the outer corner and kind of building it around here, kind of along the eye, because I'm lazy and wanted to do like a half cut crease. But again, do you see the amount of pigment you're actually getting on that? Like it is a little bit like, where on earth is this coming from? Like it's really good, which is exactly what you'd expect from them. Like we're getting a lot of pigment here. So don't worry, I will be like blending that because obviously this is the sort of brush that you kind of pack colour on with, you know. But you can see you get it on there, absolutely zero issue at all. I just want to kind of add a little bit more depth in here. But I mean, very easy to do that here. Because I have quite a harsh line here, I'm just going to take a blank canvas E10 to just blend this out. And you should see that with a little bit of extra diffusion here with the right sort of brush, you start to see with a little bit of time and effort that this does start to diffuse a little bit more. So this is something that you do need a little bit of time to kind of work with. But you can see there, it is kind of softening the transition. So these are very blendable shadows, which is exactly what we've seen from Beauty Bay. There's always the worry, you know, they're terrible swatches. Maybe they've changed the formula, but no, still as blendable as it always has been. So I'm quite pleased with that so far. I'm now taking a Spectrum B10 and I'm going into the shade Morph. And again, I'm just kind of following those exact same lines and kind of blending it in here. Obviously, it's a super, super cool toned palette. Everything is working together really well. I think particularly because that grey is very, very blue toned, and that purple as well. I know it's like a very light purple, but there's still more kind of blue toned leaning. I think my one quibble with this palette is that there's two dark blue matte shades, and I know I'm using one of them right now, Morph, but I feel like the other one is a little bit too close to this one, and I needed to differentiate them further. Like there's the minutest of differences, and when you have such a small palette like this, like if it was like the bigger, like 42 pounds, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Like I shall not question this, but this is a smaller palette and it is more curated. So I kind of found that a little bit surprising. I'm taking this away with 225, and this is where I'm going into the other kind of deep blue matte. It's called Parallel. And in my opinion, these two are just way too close to each other in terms of their tone. Like the slight difference here is that this is Morph and this is Parallel. Morph has a little bit more glitter in it and Parallel is like a more traditional matte. So even though I said that there's originally 5 mattes in this, it's more that there's 4 true mattes and 1 matte that has like a little bit of glitter in it. And I'm just popping that just in there in the outer corner and just kind of building that kind of in and out. But again, you can see it is quite similar to the previous shades. I was kind of a little bit surprised that that was in there. But sure, look, what would I know about Beauty Bay? Very little. I know so little about colour stories. In fairness, I think this is really nice. I think it'll be a really good companion to the Midnight palette, because there's a lot of like really interesting shimmers in here that I think will complement it really, really well. And again, this is another shade that you can like diffuse and kind of like add and build to, which is nice, you know. But again, you can also disperse it. So it's very, very easy to work with, which I quite enjoy. You're getting a nice amount of pigment with this. Super, super easy to work with. And then just before I start into a cut crease, I'm taking this blank canvas E10 and I'm going into this shade here, Prism, which depending upon the way that you look at it, it's pinky, bluey, purpley, silver. It is absolutely gorgeous. I might use that as a highlighter. Now, I don't want to pack this on. I'm literally just popping it up here where the brow bone is and kind of dispersing it. And like the glitter that you get off of this is actually like a little bit nuts when you think about like the price. Like it's so good. Yeah, I think I might end up using this as a highlighter. It's so pretty. Yeah, I do. I like it. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm sitting here in a room that has like 5 million lights, so you're probably not seeing it to its best possible capacity, but trust me, I'm very trustworthy, you know. But that's the bulk. So now what I'm going to do is do a partial cut crease. I'm going to use some glitter glue as well, because that's a really good base to start off on those multi-chromes. But I will be using quite a few different multi-chromes to kind of get this same look over here. I'm now taking a Zoeva 238 and I'm going into the shade Portal. And I'll be honest with you guys, it is so hard to remember which shades I actually used where, because like they look different in the pan than they do on the eye. So it's kind of tricky to figure out exactly what it is that you did, or rather what it is that I did. So as you can see, kind of putting on that glitter glue is really, really helpful here. It kind of gives you that like extra bit of like opacity, or yeah, opacity is the word, isn't it? I don't know, it's 1:30 at night here. I got the insomnia again. And I'm taking another Zoeva 238 and I'm going into the shade Oil. And like initially it looks like it's a blue, but it's like a blue to purple, sort of a silvery shift. And I'm popping that on top of Portal. And not only am I popping it on top of Portal, but I'm also bringing it out. So you can hopefully see some of it here. If not, again, it's just down to the lights. But I will try and capture this as best as I can by fiddling with lights later. I am trying, guys, I am. Another Zoeva 238, and this time I'm going into the shade Alchemy. So the formula itself is very like putty-like. Just gonna pop that up here like this, because it's mostly that I'm using this brush to get the precision. And then after that, I'm just gonna use my finger, because why not? And as you can see, you get that on really prettily. And then I'm using this NYX spatula tool and I'm going into the shade Tech. And again, literally just using that so I can get kind of more of the precision around here. But I'm gonna smash my finger into it as well, because I'm gross. So you can see you obviously get better pigmentation with your finger, so don't be afraid to do that with this. And I'm just taking this P. Louise brush and just kind of gently going between those shades there, so there's a little bit more of like a gentle transition. Now I wanted to make sure that I used one of the eyeshadow duos, and I decided I'd use it as a liner, and I figured I'd go with the lighter shade on that and try and do as thin a line as is physically possible, which I feel like I actually did pretty okay. So the shade itself is Surreal, and I'm just taking a liner brush and I'm kind of just taking a little bit from here, and I'm going to attempt to do this on camera. Enjoy me being highly uncomfortable while trying to do this. They're great shadows though for these sort of liquid liner things. Like you get really, really good pigment from them. And I quite appreciate it, because I'm not sitting here and attempting to build it. Like, it's just happening, which for me is nice. Did I get this to be as thin as the other one? But sure, no, but look, there's worse things that happens in life. Wonky brows. I'm joking, lads, I'm joking. But not bad considering all of these things. Okay, so that's it. Obviously it's all going to look a little bit better once I put a full face on, so we'll come back and have a little chat about the palette. I have put the rest of my makeup on, and it is 2ish in the morning because I make poor life decisions, but I do like this eye look. Why do I do my best work when nobody is around to appreciate it? You guys appreciate it, right? Hopefully. Anyways, I will zoom you in now so you can see this finished eye look. So this is what it looks like. I mean, it's very, very lavender heavy, but there's quite a few really nice kind of sparkly multi-chromes in here as well. And I feel like it all blended together really, really nicely. But of course, I will show you this with lights off, etc., so you can see the sparkles that little bit better. I'm hoping that by having the one ring light on and no other light, that you can maybe see this eye look a little bit better. I'm going to zoom you in now so you can see it in better detail. So I think you can see some of the sparkles a little bit better, getting a little bit more info on that sort of metallic shine. Of course, my glasses are in the way. Let's take them off. And I feel like this is probably giving a slightly more accurate indication of what these shadows look like. As per usual though, these sort of things look that little bit better in reality. So that leads us now obviously to the review of this collection. So I'm going to start off first with the Metamorphic because that is the big ticket item. So we have essentially 4 mattes, and there's one matte in there that has like sort of sparkles in it. I felt like the 2 of those were a little bit too similar to each other. Some of the kind of duochrome shimmers as well kind of come a little bit similar to each other, but that's me being like super, super pernickety. I think this is like incredibly beautiful. I mean, there's just certain shades here, like I did use this shade as a highlight and I think it's absolutely stunning. I feel like they've really upped their formula when it comes to the shimmers here, but obviously they have like a new duochrome, multi-chrome sort of thing going on. Let's be real, you're not going to be buying this palette hoping to use the mattes. It's not really what this palette is about. It's all about the shimmers, the sparkles, etc. and how do they operate. Crazy well. So well. I think that given the price point, I mean it's €22, £18, and there's usually like codes etc to get money off. If this is in any way appealing to you, if you even think there's a few shades that you can use out of this, my advice would be get it, because I already know there's a few shades here that I really enjoy. But let's be real, I mean, do you necessarily need it? Probably not. But I think if you really want to treat yourself, you don't want to blow your budget, but you want to get something that's a little bit special, I think this is the palette that kind of serves that case. I really am so happy with this, and it's consistently what I've had with Beauty Bay. You know, you're very rarely disappointed by them. So I'm really happy with recommending this. I think I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. I'm taking a point off because, you know, you will have to dip into other palettes, which isn't a massive deal. However, 2 shades of those kind of matte shades are a little bit too similar to each other. You could have given us another lovely duochrome thing, just saying. But that again is me being very pernickety. And the last thing that I'm talking about are the liquid eyeshadows. So I use the shade Surreal, which is this one in the look today, but I have also swatched the other one. It's called Slick, and I gotta say, these are absolutely stunning. So beautiful. You don't need them. Nobody needs these sort of things, but they are very pretty. I think like if you like a liquid eyeshadow, then you'll like this. If, however, you rarely find yourself using a liquid eyeshadow, probably avoid it. You probably were going to do that anyways. But I think these double up really nicely as liners. That's generally how I like to use my liquid eyeshadows, but that's a me thing. I'm super happy recommending them. I would say a 9 out of 10. I think they could have done an extra one here. They kind of have enough of these kind of silvery ones. I would have liked to have seen like a more lavender blue type kind of a hue, because they did a beautiful duochrome one last year for the dark fantasy, and I really think they could have kind of pushed the boat out further on that. But all in all, a fantastic collection. Now obviously they also included the liner and the mascara, but I didn't try those because I already have a load of these in rotation and I didn't want to just open them for the sake of trying them. But I think it was a really smart choice for them to actually include that. Just from a consumer point of view, those are the things that we tend to like repurchase a lot, so like fair enough. But overall, it's absolutely fantastic value. I absolutely loved this. So glad that I purchased this. I am annoyed that it's limited edition. I could see this being like a really useful permanent portion of their collection, because they don't really have anything like this, and I hope we see a little bit more like this. But my gorgeous friends, let me know what you guys think, because this is the end of the video. Do please like, comment and subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case, you know, wrap it up, don't be gross. But that's it, that's the end of this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.